Heading into the U.S. Open, what can tennis fans expect out in New York and Flushing Meadows this fall?
Well, Ben, we may not have Novak Djokovic because as it stands right now, he's still not vaccinated, and you have to be vaccinated to enter the country. So what's crazy is that we may not see Novak play another Grand Slam until Paris next year because he's not allowed in Australia either. So we'll see. I mean, there's talk the U.S. government may change that rule, but it's wild that, arguably the number one player in the world right now is not going to be playing a major until next May, June. That said, I mean, Daniil Medvedev is your defending champion there, and he wasn't allowed to play Wimbledon because Wimbledon banned the Russians and the Belarusians. And then there was no point. So then the ATP and WTA said, well, if you're going to ban these players, we're going to take points away. So Novak Djokovic wins the tournament, falls to 7 in the world. And, on the women's side, Elena Rybakina, who, by the way, they didn't want Russians to play in the tournament. And then you get somebody on the women's side who won the tournament, who literally was born in Russia, and a few years ago took money from Kazakhstan, and now she plays for Kazakhstan and was able to play and then, wins the tournament when, in all honesty, she's Russian. But she actually falls in the rankings as well because she couldn't get any points. Nick Kyrgios, who gets to a final, would be 15 in the world right now, drops to 45 in the world from 40. So it's kind of a mess. But that aside, I mean, there's great opportunity. Rafa still hasn't lost at a major this year, which is insane. He won the Australian Open. Then he won his 14th Roland Garros. Then he gets to the semifinals at Wimbledon and unfortunately has to pull out because he's got a tear in his abdomen. The fact that he was able to beat Taylor Fritz in the quarterfinals with an abdominal tear is incredible. He won the French Open with the fact that he had this foot injury that he had to numb it every single match. So he's had a ton of injuries. And then he had a broken rib in the final of Indian Wells against Taylor Fritz earlier this year as well. So you can't count Rafa out. If Djokovic plays, he's one of the favorites. I'm curious to see how Daniil Medvedev comes back, the fact that he hasn't played in a little while. And then Kyrgios, he geared up for the grass court season. Is he still motivated? He says the fact that he didn't win at Wimbledon makes him more motivated because he's the type of guy that he feels like Wimbledon's the greatest tournament of all time. If he had won it, he would have been like, all right, kind of mic drop. I don't need to do anything for the rest of my life. So the fact that he's still motivated, I love that as well. And then on the women's side, there's so many. Iga Swiatek is the number one player in the world by far, lost early at Wimbledon. But you got, Coco Gauff, who's this teenager, 18-year-old American who is going to be the future. She's an absolute rock star, brilliant on and off the court. Amanda Anisimova made a deep run, another young American who's just 20 years old, also going to be just box office superstar. And then others from all across, from Paula Badosa, Ons Jabeur, folks that you may or may not have heard of. And then the other question is, Serena, is she playing? I don't know. I hope she does. I mean, the player she lost to at Wimbledon made it to the fourth round and lost to Anisimova. And Roger is not expected to play until the Labor Cup, which is after the U.S. Open. And then he's supposed to play in Basel, which is his home tournament after that. But there's still a lot of questions. But there's nothing like the excitement, the electricity of Arthur Ashe Stadium, nighttime matches. All the fans are back. So I'm going to be hyped either way.